Sanjana K, and I will be talking about how to develop a risk management methodology that aligns with ISO 27001. In today's interconnected and highly digital world, protecting information is not merely a technical necessity but a business imperative. One of the most effective frameworks for achieving is ISO 27001. At the heart of ISO 27001 lies the principle of structured risk management. In this presentation, I will be explaining about it, exploring the best practices with it, highlight common mistakes and to avoid and share a real-world example of the practical implementation of it. Let's begin by understanding the importance of risk management. So, every organization today holds valuable information. However, this information is constantly at risk from cyber attacks, system failures, insider threats, and even simple human error. Information security risk management is the structured process of identifying, assessing, and treating these risks before they can cause any harm. When executed effectively, it not only safeguards assets but also strengthens resilience, supports compliance, and also builds trust with the users. To give an overview of ISO 27001, ISO 27001 is a standard jointly developed by the Internal Organization for Standardization and the Internal Electrotechnical Commission. It sets out the requirements for establishing, implementing, maintaining, and continually improving an information security management system, or also known as the ISMS. The standard is built on the CIA triad, that is, the confidentiality, ensuring only authorized personnel can access the information, integrity, maintaining accuracy and completeness, and availability, ensuring timely and reliable access when needed. While ISO 27001 prescribes certain requirements, it does not dictate a standard or single methodology of risk management. It is flexible and it allows the organization to design a method tailored to the size and industry, and it must be represented in a well-documented manner. The core components for a risk management methodology, typically there are 5 key steps for it. First is risk identification, basically identifying the assets, threats, and vulnerabilities. Risk analysis, assess each risk in terms of likelihood, potential, impact, either quantitatively or qualitatively. Third, we have got risk evaluation, compare against your organization's defined risk and determine the priority of it. Then we've got risk treatment, select the most appropriate approach, avoid, mitigate, transfer, or accept the risk. Lastly, risk monitoring and review, reassessing regularly, track control, effectiveness, and updates as new threats emerge. This process should be fully documented and must be transparent for audit reasons. Mapping ISO 27001's requirements. Basically, ISO 27001 requires that risk management activities to align with certain key clauses, such as clause 6.1.1. It defines the risk management framework, basically setting objectives, the roles, scopes, and acceptance criteria. Clause 6.1.2 is performing risk assessments, identifying risk, determining the likelihood and impact, and documenting these results. Clause number 6.1.3 is planning risk treatment, choosing controls, justify decisions, and create a formal risk treatment plan. Clause number 8.2 is implement the plan, basically to deploy the controls, to allocate resources, and also to track progress. Clause 9.1, 9.2, and 10.1 are to monitor, review, and improve the effectiveness, and conduct certain audits, and also to refine the process. Moving on to the best practices for the alignment of the standard is to define clear risk criteria before any assessment begins. Secondly, to involve multiple functions like IT, legal, compliance, HR, and the business leaders as well. Thirdly, to leverage templates and tools to ensure standardization, um, to document thorough to document everything thoroughly, and fifthly, to link risks to business objectives so that leadership also sees the strategic value. Sixth would be to schedule periodic reviews and keep risk registers current. And lastly, to promote risk awareness through any ongoing training and communication. Certain common mistakes that should be avoided are treating risk assessment as it is a one time exercise. Secondly, to overcomplicate methodologies, leading to stakeholder disengagement. Third, focusing solely on technology and ignoring the people, processes, and risks. Fourth, failing to document the decisions and justifications. Fifth, assuming controls eliminate risk entirely. Residual risk always remains. Misaligning security measures with broader business goals. Lastly, would be applying Annex A controls indiscriminatingly instead of tailoring them to the actual risks. Uh, to give a real world example, as mentioned in the article, if we consider Technova Solutions, a mid-sized IT service provider preparing for ISO 27001 certification, they identified phishing emails as high likelihood, high impact threat. Whilst their approach was established risk criteria and appetite, rated the phishing risk as 20 on their scale, and 20 and above acceptable limits, chose to mitigate using awareness training and multi-factor authentication. Fourth, they implemented both within 30 days. Fifth, they measured progress with simulated phishing campaigns, reducing click rates from 25% to 3% in 2 months. This demonstrates a practical, documented, and effective alignment with the ISO 27001's requirement. For future considerations, I think risk management must evolve alongside emerging challenges. Organization should embrace continuous improvement, must be informed about ISO 27001 updates, such as the 2022 revision, which happened. Third, address risk from emerging technologies like AI, Internet of Things, and quantum computing. Fourth, integrate other frameworks like NIST, RMF, or COBIT. Then we've got enhanced data-driven decisions, making sure security metrics and statistical analysis, and to strengthen risk culture through leadership, engagement, education, training, and incentives. In conclusion, aligning your risk management methodology with ISO 27001 provides more compliance. It creates resilient, proactive security posture that safeguards your organization's most valuable assets, supports regulatory obligations, and builds trust with stakeholders. When it is done well, it becomes an integral part of strategic decision making and long-term business success. Thank you.